Hey everybody, welcome back to the Overwatch Project. In today's podcast on March 12th, Thursday, 2020, it's going to be about light and darkness versus good and evil and how these two things are actually two different things together entirely, and people generally conflate the two or mix the two together, but actually they're separate things. Light and darkness are positive and negative forces versus actual objective morality as defined by natural law, good and evil. So, for starters, let me remind everybody, my website is overwatchproject.com. That is one word, overwatchproject.com. You can go there. There's tons of reference material if you're new to my podcast. This is Spreaker I'm on right now. It'll later populate to YouTube and BitChute. Of course, I'll post the podcast link on my homepage at overwatchproject.com. But hey, if you're listening to me on YouTube, don't forget I'm on these alternative platforms, and there's less censorship on BitChute and these other platforms. So don't always hang out on the main social media herding facilities that they've set up. Back in the olden days in the internet, they used to actually go to different websites to find different pieces of information. We weren't all consolidated to these big platforms. Anyway, back to the main topic tonight. Light and darkness, positive and negative forces, do not necessarily have anything to do with good and evil. Now, in order to understand what I'm talking about, you have to have a good foundation, a good knowledge of what actually is natural law that defines objective morality of good and evil in humans and whatever other beings maybe are out there in either the spirit realms or other places in our universe that have a level of sentience like we do or higher. The natural law I'm talking about does not apply to the animal kingdom. It does not apply to different forms of sentient beings that operate in a manner that they're designed to operate that way, and they really cannot be considered to be doing evil, even if they were doing a similar act to a human who is doing evil. For example, a wolf chases down a prey. It's a predator, and it chases down its prey. It kills it and eats it. Or it finds someone violating its territory, and it attacks even a human or anything else that it perceives as violation of its territory, and it's doing so under a natural instinct that is according to its level of sentience. Humans have an additional level, an awareness of our awareness. We are clearly different than anything else as far as our cognitive function and our spiritual nature. And that makes us subject to this type of natural law that I'm talking about, which is objective. It's not subjective. It's not a matter of opinion. To learn about it in depth, I suggest you check out Mark Passio's work on it in his YouTube channel. If you search YouTube for Mark Passio, you'll find his channel. That's Mark, last name is Passio. And in his channel, you'll find a three-part seminar. It totals 9 hours, but it will totally explain natural law. His website is whatonearthishappening.com. He's coming out with a documentary, I think in May, a condensed professional grade documentary about natural law. Probably be like an hour and a half long, and it'll condense the 9-hour material into a much more digestible, shorter, better presentation. I'm looking forward to checking that out. But you need to understand what I'm talking about, what actual rights are. And they're not what most people think they are. So you are an individual, and you have individual rights. And everything around you that is set up to corrupt your understanding comes from religions or materialism dogma and doctrines of all these different, from scientism to whatever religion you're talking about, all designed to steal your individuality, to subject you to dogmas and doctrines that rob you of your ability to critically think about all this stuff so that you have a better understanding of natural law. It clouds your view so that you don't see what is right in front of your face. Natural law, once you understand it, you can observe it. You can have a clear understanding of what is good and evil. And once you have, of course, it requires you to have your ego in check. It requires you to have a clear understanding of cognitive dissonance, and you have to be aware of when you're doing that to justify opposing ideas, so that you don't, have crazy ideas in your head that are premises that are clearly false. And most people in the world are really messed up in their thinking. They don't have a clear understanding of this. Lately, there's been an uptick in freedom movements and understanding of this, but in general, all these other things are designed to hide the truth, and that's why information is occulted, aka hidden. Another word that's weaponized. The occult doesn't mean anything dark. It doesn't mean anything evil. The word actually just means hidden, and it's not intentionally hidden. It's literally hidden in plain sight. And people choose to ignore the information. They choose to ignore, or I have occasionally I'll have different types of people leave comments on my YouTube channel mostly. Some of them are materialists. They'll leave their scientism, religion, the religion of scientism comments, and other people are, fall into some major religitard belief, and they leave their comments, or I'm going to burn in hell, or this is the only truth, the one I believe in, blah, blah, blah. I went through all that. I went through, I was raised in a Christian household. I went through from kindergarten to 12th grade in Catholic school, and believe me, it took me a while to unscrew my brain from the brainwashing. But now that I have myself together, I can approach these topics and logically and with a clear head. Anyway, so light and darkness, forces of positive and negative, like things that generate electricity when they're combined together and create energy, which really everything is energy. These forces are not part of a moral spectrum as applies to natural law, and I think a lot of people conflate the two. So you have these new age light workers actually doing evil by everything is light and love, and really misinforming people on the true nature of reality. Good and evil spreads not only on earth and in between humans, but it's also apparently in the spiritual realm. If you read what goes on there from out-of-body experiencers and from astral projectors, near-death experiencers, there's good and evil in the spirit realm and on earth, obviously. The thing is that these forces of light and darkness may not, just like wolves or lions or jaguars or other predatory animals that do some nasty business when they're to live, some of these forces in spirits and in just the general mechanics of reality that have these opposing forces working in it are not necessarily part of concepts of good and evil. Yet you can confuse them. So traditional occultists understand that the magic, or if whatever word you want to use it, we all do it all the time. Even religious people do it without even realizing that's what they're doing. These forces that we call upon to manifest and alter things in our reality are just being what they're supposed to be. So it's not necessarily the case that all angelic or positive light forces and all dark or demonic or forces of negativity or destruction are necessarily also forces of good and evil. Some of them are, because some of them are sentient on the level of humans or higher, so they have a clear understanding of them doing good or evil. But other forces and spirits may not have that same understanding and may be just performing their natural function, just like, say, a wolf or a lion or a cat performs its function as a predatory-minded animal. Its designed and purpose is to perform acts that are kind of destructive at times, and it does that because it maintains a balance between the natural order of things, which has nothing to do with good and evil. Something that humans are capable of understanding, and yet most people are ignorant because they ignore all the information and they just are so easily duped. I mean, look at this current situation we're in. I mean, it's March 12th. I mentioned the dreaded virus going around right now that the news media has hyped so spectacularly that causes everybody to be in a... So many people, not everyone, but so many people are in a perfectly mind-controlled panic right now over basically nothing if you look at the numbers. I mean, you look at 2009, the flu outbreak back then, 60 million, possibly as high as 84 million people infected, 300,000 people in America alone hospitalized, and countless thousands killed. A true epidemic, nasty bug that went around. News media didn't use their mind control techniques to create a panic there, but they're doing it now. The world is run by dark occultists using mind control. I hope that people that are listening to my podcast are caught up to speed with all this stuff. If this is all new to you, go to my website, overwatchproject.com, and start going through all the links and all the reference material and books I list on there. It took me many, many years to figure all this stuff out. But what I'm saying here is that traditional occultism or traditional witchcraft, which is not Wicca, by the way, which is another religion set up with doctrines and dogma, just like all the other ones, to keep people in the dark and feed them half-truths and mislead them. And I don't want to offend people that are stuck in these religions, because I used to be stuck in one of these religions for most of my life. So I completely relate to the triggering of the cognitive dissonance and the reflex action of trying to defend the premise that you hold, the philosophy that you have about reality that you've accepted as true. And I don't mean to insult you. It's just it's kind of like there's a psychological term called the curse of knowledge, which happens when you realize somebody's behind you on the learning curve. It also is a kind of a bleak state, because once you free yourself from being ignorant of so many things, and you've stopped being no longer have to be nascent, because we live in a world where all the information in the world is available on your laptop or even your phone. You can fill your head with all this information, and then you can process it all in hopefully a cognitive dissonance free, logical, comprehensive way, so you can completely see what's going on. But the point I'm trying to make is that these traditional occultists understand. I've been reading a lot of their books, and they clearly understand the dark occult forces using dark magic to control the world, and they're doing a spectacular job of it. But I want to point out that the dark forces employed in spiritual work are not themselves evil. And I'll give you an example. They can be used by the person who intends to do evil to be evil, but it's all about the intention of the user. So So let's say someone that practices occult magic is a victim of a heinous crime. And just like in any natural law situation, it doesn't matter how you defend yourself or how you get retribution for such a wrongdoing. It just matters that it falls under natural law as being a moral thing, which self-defense and defense of others is moral, even if you're causing harm to the attacker, because they're the ones in violation of natural law. So if someone is brutally attacked, heinously violated, robbed, pillaged, whatever, the R word, something really horrible happens to them, and they happen to be a traditional occultist, and they use dark magic to rain down retribution and destruction on the perpetrator, because let's say that the perpetrator gets off of the statist judicial system through a technicality or something, and then they use other means to send spiritual forces to that attacker to destroy them. It's the intention, the whole drama, the whole totality of the information of why that was done, the intention and purpose for that, which vengeance is just justice that is not administered by a government, especially if it's done proportionately and deservingly to the target that it's sent to. If someone uses dark magic to curse or hex or send demonic forces to harass or torment or bring someone to justice, then that itself, see how that would not be actually evil, because light and dark forces are not necessarily good or evil. They just exist as part of nature, which is what I'm starting to think. So in the afterlife, like this life, you are going to probably be able to find, if you're full of knowledge and gnosis, a place that you can reside and not have to be around actual evil people. On Earth here, we don't have much of a choice. We're kind of surrounded. But in the afterlife, in so many infinite planes of existence, you could find a nice place where there's no a-holes, so to speak. So, but the conflation happens because people that understand that dark occult forces are running the world and they're using dark occult magic to perform evil acts and control people and manipulate people, and just even the media itself is a whole dark operation where they can mind control people into panics. I want to remind people of something called the Summer of Sharks. Before 9/11 happened, there was a lull in news cycle, and the news media, all of them, I guess, concocted this shark panic. Every day on the news before 9/11, if you remember, there was always a story about a shark attack, waters are dangerous. They made it seem like there was a pandemic of sharks attacking people suddenly. They made like the movie Jaws for real and just ratcheted it up 1,000 times. And this was going on for a while. And then I remember some people that actually study marine life noticed, of course, the news frenzy and the panic, and people were afraid to go in the water. And it's just like what we're seeing now. But, this is, you can look back at history and see how this stuff repeats itself. And then it turns out that the Summer of Sharks was all BS. There were absolutely no more shark attacks than normal. It's just the normal, hey, you're going to go in the ocean belongs to... And see, like the shark is not... It can appear to be a dark force. It's a dark, predatory type of being. But it is not evil. It's just doing what sharks do. And so if you're going to go into water and you're going to splash around, you might attract its attention. If it's hungry, it's going to think you're an injured fish or whatever, it's going to respond like it's programmed to respond, and it's going to come over and eat you or take a bite out of you. But the shark itself is not necessarily, in no way, shape, or form could it be a violation of natural law as it applies to humans. It is not, therefore, evil. Now, if you went in the water and chopped somebody up, you'd be doing something evil, unless you were doing it in self-defense because you were being attacked. You see how that works? So the news media is like a dark occult operation, and they amazing, even after time of being caught lying, manipulating, constantly effing with people's minds, and it's like they are able somehow to hypnotize people. Perhaps I have an immunity to it, I don't know, but even as a child, I remember my parents had the news on, I would be repulsed by the people on the television. I don't know if I was sensitive to their negativity or their lies or something. I would just be repulsed. I used to hate seeing them and listening to them, and I just instinctively didn't trust anything they said. But that's just me. Most people, they look at it, they see it on TV, it must be true. Oh my gosh, there's a pandemic. Let me go out and buy all the freaking toilet paper in the entire world, because I don't know why you want to have all the toilet paper just because there's a virus going around. But hey, that's what people do. But you see, the fine point I'm trying to make here is not to get pinned down in these stupid dogmas that cloud issues. If you think you're going to protect yourself from dark forces being used by evil people, by being all about light and love, which is a preposterous, absolutely asinine way of looking at the world. You have evil that's clearly, objectively observable in the world. And you have these New Agers and these spiritual types that bend and twist reality into this, it's all love and light. It makes no sense. It's totally devoid of any kind of reality. And in that sense, those people are using the forces of light, which again are neutral, neither good or evil, and using that to perpetuate an evil act, to give people a premise about reality and a philosophy about reality that is completely false. So in order to have a proper perspective of reality, you have to understand both good and evil. You have to decide which side you're going to be on. And then you can remember, a gun is neither good or evil. It can be used to commit a crime, but it can also be used in self-defense, or it could be used just for target practice, in which case it's totally neutral. You see that? Electricity can be used to turn on a light bulb. It can be used to electrocute somebody. These are forces that you could say are useful and can be defined as light forces or dark forces, but are not applicable to just defining them as good or evil. I hope I made my point that, if you want to read about these books, I have linked to several of them on my website. There's some of them you could search for online. There's a big one called Gallery of Magic. That's Gallery of Magic, one word, with a K at the end, .com. galleryofmagic.com. And there's a lot of books there. There's a lot of information about what I'm talking about. There's also the Occult Files of Sophia Di Gregorio. I've read a few of her books and listened to a lot of her podcasts. And, I'm looking at this stuff because originally when I went through the process of analyzing all these different religions, I assumed that occult type religions were like Wicca. I did not realize that there was a much more in-depth and individualized tradition in this stuff. And I'm looking at it right now. And remember that these people have something in common with me, that these traditional ones, that they embrace individuality. All these other control mechanisms, they do something very clever. In one form or another, they want to take away your individuality, which has nothing to do with being on an ego trip. This has to do with the fact that your individuality is important for your freedom, your personal freedom, and your personal rights. The actual rights under natural law are important. And it seems like all these forces, all these philosophies want to steal that from you and from me. They want you to believe that in order to be correct, you have to follow their dogmas and doctrines, when really all you have to do is learn enough information, control your cognitive dissonance, be aware of your ego, and then as you build more and more information and knowledge, take it in totality, look at it precisely and comprehensively and logically, and then you can start to see what's really going on. And I can't do that for you. That's something that everybody has to do for themselves. And no one can give you that knowledge. You have to kind of earn it. But, so I hope I made my point. My point is that light, dark, positive, and negative forces in nature and in the spirit realm are not necessarily actually good or evil. It depends on the sentience of the beings involved. And if natural law, which is objective morality, the law of objective morality built into reality itself that applies everywhere, applies to the being acting out whatever it's acting out. Intention will determine in these sentient beings whether or not they're acting good or evil. And I hope that makes sense. I hope that I've explained it well enough. Approaching 30 minutes. That should be long enough for this podcast. Remember to check out my website, overwatchproject.com. Remember that I'm primarily podcasting from Spreaker. So Spreaker.com. It's free to sign up, free app that you can have on your phone, so you can listen live or play from the app or download to your phone if you want to listen to podcasts. They have a lot of podcasters on Spreaker. And don't forget about my BitChute channel. You can get to all of it from overwatchproject.com. There's a link navigation section that'll show you everything I'm talking about. So check that all out. And until next time, hopefully it won't be too long. I'll talk to you then. Have a good day, good night, whenever you happen to be listening to this. Take care. And do your own investigation, do your own research, and look, take notes on what I'm saying on these other sources. Go look them up yourself on the internet or on wherever I pointed you to find them. And if you don't understand natural law, try Mark Passio's 9-hour seminar on his YouTube channel. So thanks a lot for listening. I'll talk to you guys next time. Have a good day and good night. Again, I said it already. All right, see ya. Bye-bye.